Good evening, everyone. You know, one of the things that being a trainer is very fun. This is where people learn about your skills. This is where people learn about your knowledge. And this is where people learn about your experience. So being a trainer, you have the opportunity to teach. Not only do you have the opportunity to teach, but you also have the opportunity to learn from your students. So with that being said, I have 5 things I would like to mention to you and what it means to become a great trainer, or to be some sort of a trainer. In my particular field would be self-defense trainer. And so one of the first things that I would like to mention is you got to be passionate about what the subject you're going to be talking about. It's something that enlightens you. It's something that makes you alive. It's something that just, that you're fired about it. It's like you read a good book, and when you read a good book, you just can't wait to share it with people. You go tell people, hey, have you read this book? Hey, have you read this book? Hey, if you read this book, this is what you'll find out. You say things like that, and you cannot hide your passion. Your passion, people will notice about your passion. It's either going to be real and authentic, or it's going to be fake. And you cannot surprise people. People will read your mind, people will read your heart, and people will read your energy. So the first thing you got to have to be a good trainer is you got to have passion. You need that passion. You need that passion to drive, to influence, to implore. So that's the first thing, is you got to have passion. The second thing you got to have is knowledge about your subject. And knowledge is something that makes you unique. Knowledge is what you can have, what you have learned, and how you have used that knowledge, and how that knowledge been a help to somebody else. So you gotta have knowledge about your subject. People will know if you don't have knowledge about the subject that you have. People will know that you're just kind of skimming through it. You're not hitting on the main points. They're not listening to you. They're not. What do you say? They're not being with you. So when you have knowledge, it's very important that you know what you're talking about, because people will have questions, and they will say, well, what about this? Well, what about that? Well, what if that happened? And you're able to explain your situations, and you're able to explain where you got that knowledge or how you attained that knowledge. So that's the second thing. The third thing about being a good trainer and want to train is you gotta have skills. Not only do you need to have passion, but not only do you need knowledge, now you gotta develop the skills. And a skill talks a lot. It says a lot. And when you practice your skills, when you practice what you're talking about, people seem to have a better respect for you. People know, they say, well, this person knows what he or she is talking about. So practice your skills, because sooner or later, somebody's going to challenge your skills. One day I was giving a class, and I was teaching self-defense, and one of my students, after I was done, we were having a break. And as I turned my back, he attacked me from the back, and we both went to the ground. And so I was able to get out of his hole, and I was able to turn around toward him and do some clinching with him. He was amazed. He's like, oh no, you know your stuff, he said. So that's your skills. The other thing that you gotta have is you gotta have experience. You just can't say, I know this stuff, but you gotta also back it up with the experience. What kind of experience do you have? And the experience you have is very important because it says a lot about you. So you know some of the situations you've been in, and how did you take care of that situation, or what have you learned from that situation, or how did you even that includes. So your experience is the totality of everything. It's what you have learned, what you have discovered, and what areas that you have failed on your subjects, and how did you improve upon those subjects. So your experience says a lot. The last thing is you got to be a self-learner. Of all the years that I have taught defensive tactic to my police officers, and all the years that I have taught people how to defend themselves, one of the things I was not very good at was ground fighting. So today I enrolled myself in the jiu-jitsu. I want to learn how to fight ground fighting. So I'm not very good at it, but I'm taking upon myself to learn that skill. So things like that, you know, you gotta always be a self-learner. I always tell people, you know how much my education costs me annually? And one of the things I tell them is it costs me $300 to $400, and they're like, wow, why so low? And I tell them because I'm an adept reader. I love to read. I love to read about leadership. I like to read about freedom. I love to read about finance. I love to read about business. I love to read about relationships and things like that. So what I do is I go to the bookstore wherever there's books, and then I buy books for myself and I read them. If I don't know anything, sometimes I go to people that know the subject and says, hey, what is this? What is this like? So being said that, let's recap again. The first thing you gotta have is passion. Passion is very important, and if you want to be a trainer. If you want to be a great trainer, you gotta have passion for what you're doing. The second thing is you gotta have knowledge about what you're going to talk about, what you're good at, what you have learned throughout the years. The third thing is you gotta have skills. If you don't have skills, nobody's going to respect you. You gotta have skill. You're need to demonstrate. You're able to can do the things that you say that you're good at. And then the fourth thing is you gotta have experience in those areas. How if what you're telling us have failed, how did you get out of those situations? And so you gotta know that stuff. And the last thing, of course, like I said, you're gonna have to be a student of learning. You're gonna have to always learn about your subjects. Like Will Rogers said this: everybody is ignorant only on different subjects. Let me say that one more time again. Will Rogers said everybody is ignorant only on different subjects. So we don't know everything. And just because I know my subject does not know that I know everything. I'm always going to be learning and growing. Being said that, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to me. We can learn from each other, and please also make comments on my videos. Thank you.